Afternoon, everyone. My latest video segment for the LinkedIn community and other social media platforms. We're talking about today how to become more powerful. So let's first define what is power. Power is the ability to influence the behavior of others. We pay attention to powerful people because we know they can create change, and we like to know who's capable of creating that change. Powerful people influence the behavior of others. They change institutions and make big impacts in business. Forbes have listed the criteria, the 4 variables of what actually constitutes power. Number 1 is control. That's the amount of people a person has influence over. Number 2, wealth. That's the amount of financial resources controlled by each person. Number 3, spread, the number of categories or spheres a person is powerful in. Lastly, number 4, usage. That's the ability of the person to use his or her power. So Jeff Bezos was listed number 5 in the power stakes from Forbes. He fitted the above variables like so. Control, Amazon has almost 1 million employees. Wealth, well, he has a lot of it. It's not short of a bob or two, is Bezos. He has $148.6 billion net worth as of May the 1st, 2020. Spread, besides Amazon, he also owns the Washington Post and Blue Origin, an aerospace company. We've all seen the pictures. Most of us have seen the pictures of Jeff Bezos in space on his rocket. Usage, yes. His influence is everywhere. Jeff Bezos is a household name. Of course, real power doesn't have to be such a grand scale. We see powerful people every day, those that have great power in social situations, small companies, in the world of work, relationships. Power doesn't need to be so large or grand. Are we born to lead, or can we become leaders and become, therefore, more powerful? I've wrestled with that question, and the mistake that quite a lot of people make is that accomplishments is what you need in order to gain power and avoid company-wide issues as you start to become the top dog. Well, that's wrong. People leave things too much in the laps of the gods. Whatever will be, and fail to be intentional, as well as planning out their careers. Reactive as opposed to proactive. People who are powerful or gain power are proactive in their intentionality. There are also what's called the laws of power. One of the most famous books on this is the 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I've listed 4 of these in my particular segment for this video purpose. Number 1, Robert Greene talks about reputation, the importance of reputation. As we know, reputation can make or break you. It can take an eternity to make a reputation, but you can break one within a blink of an eye. So once you have a solid track record and a reputation you can use that for offense as well as defense to who try to knock you down, people who try to knock you down. So you can use it to your advantage, and you also can use it to protect you when those cast aspersions about your ability or who you are. Number 2, people coming to you. Once people come to you, the scales of power shifts to your advantage. You gain power and control. That's so true in the world of business and in the world of careers. So in the world of business, if people know you, more importantly, if they know you more than you know them, that puts you in a position of power. If people come to you for opportunities or come to you to utilize your services, that again puts you in a position of power and control and can defend your price point or justify much more your position in the commercial arrangement. And within the world of work of corporate, it's important to build that as well in terms of people coming to you for your expertise, people coming to you because of your reputation within the company, because they trust you, because they respect you. That gives you more power. Number 3, talk is cheap. Actions are everything. So people can talk a good game, The truth of the matter is, it's the law of actions, not manifestations, that will define you and make you more powerful. And it will enable you to demonstrate your abilities and capabilities through your actions to your clients, rather than promises of this and that. So these actions will make you more powerful with the world of business. That we're entering a period of, after the pandemic, there'll be a lot more micro entrepreneurs, micro business owners, as well as SMEs. And within the world of work, people respect and rate what you do in terms of actions rather than just empty talk or the promises and the promises of. Lastly, number 4. Avoid negative people and surround yourself with positive people. Negativity is highly infectious and spreads from one person to another. Such negativity can bring down your culture and what you're trying to achieve. So it's really important to make sure that you surround yourself with good, positive people. So I want to leave you with 9 tips on how you can be more powerful, or how you can make yourself more powerful. Number 1, and this is so vital, build an effective power network. So they say your network is your net worth. That's that cliche, but it's actually much more than that. I was guilty of it in the past. We all have a sphere of influence. We're all in our comfort zone within our sphere of influence. But if you want to be truly powerful, or you want to increase your levels of power, then you actually need to convert your weaker ties into stronger ties. Get outside of your sphere of influence, get uncomfortable, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that enables you to build effective power networks. Powerful people build these great networks. They understand that converting weaker ties into stronger ties is how they actually increase their leverage. And by doing so, you'll elevate yourself within your world of career and business, and ultimately increasing your levels of power. Number 2, turn around your weaknesses into power. I did that when I was growing up. I left the Iran-Iraq war, came to the UK, couldn't speak a word of English, had an eye defect. So when I glanced to my left, my eye wouldn't follow correctly. It's human nature to glance when we're doing a presentation, when we're looking at people. We don't always have to turn our head, but I learned the ability to turn my head. But when I was younger, it did blight me. It was a terrible weakness because I didn't want to put my hand up. I didn't want to put myself front and center in social situations or any other situations, whether it be the classroom education or what have you. But I was able to turn that terrible weakness into an amazing strength. My ability to read people, their verbals and their non-verbals, which took me into my career within the world of work and headhunting, and being a highly effective careers coach, because you need to understand how people are, and what messaging they're giving you. Because as human beings, we're giving messages all the time. We are giving off information every second, and it's your ability to pick up on that can make the difference. So I read somewhere, in every war in the last 200 years conducted between unequally matched opponents, the stronger party won about 72% of the time. However, when the underdogs understood their weakness and used a different strategy to minimize its effects, they won some 64% of the time, cutting the dominant party's likelihood of victory in half. Next up is self-appraisal. So having self-belief is vital. And the reason why a lot of people don't succeed is because they don't quite believe in themselves enough. Don't get me wrong, we all have doubts at some point, but our self-belief mechanisms overcomes that doubt and we can propel ourselves. But at the same time, if you overestimate yourself and your abilities, that can actually blight you instead of elevate you. So when you actually focus on improvements, what I think is the recipe to what makes people powerful and ultimately successful is incremental improvements. So you incrementally improve in different aspects. You focus on improving and improvements, and you get better and you become better, and you focus on that. And then by focusing that, you make yourself more powerful and consequently more successful in careers, in the world of work and in business. Number 4, act the part before you become the part. So over time, you'll become more like you're acting, self-assured, confident, more strongly convinced of the truth of what you're saying. We're not born with all these aspects. We all go into a world where we've got people who are in loftier positions than us, and we have a culture, or especially in the West, of comparison and contrast, imposter syndrome, you name it. But if you can start growing into your part, as like what an actor does or an actress, into their respective parts, or like a great sports person, a tennis player, when they go into a tennis court, they get their game face on, they get in their flow, they get into that field where they are match ready and ready to perform. They grow into it. So if you can start acting the part before you become the part, you then build really good habits, and that those habits will make you more powerful in time. Number 5, don't avoid conflict. Anger can be powerful when channeled. So true. If you look at research, it indicates that people who express their anger are seen as dominant, strong, competent, smart. They elicit following, seen as passionate. Anger, when channeled right, can lead to real greatness. You see it in the world of sport, for example. Novak Djokovic, he'll channel his anger when he's upset with himself, where he's fallen below his standards, and use that anger to elevate his levels and to go to a higher plane altogether in terms of greatness. So when channeled correctly, John McEnroe did the same as well. He was famous for it. Steve Jobs, in the world of business, was known to have a temper and show anger. There's an important difference, though. Anger is very different to rage. Rage is uncontrollable and it's not good at all. So researchers have found that in negative situations, participants believe that high status people would feel more angry than sad or guilty, and that low status people would feel sad and guilty instead of angry. Number 6, and I was guilty of this myself, don't be afraid to ask for advice. So asking for help and advice does not make you weak. When done correctly, it actually makes you more powerful. I always think, if you ask for advice and help, you are somehow showing weakness. You are showing yourself to be weak. But in fact, those who become powerful and are powerful understand when to ask for advice and help. Number 7, personal branding. So important nowadays to have a personal brand. Because if you get the personal branding right, you actually become a lead magnet for your business or your career, and it makes you powerful. How do you do it? Social media and social currency are the keys. I came late to this party. I always was selling other people, selling companies by virtue of being a headhunter and stuff. But if you do not build up your personal branding, you do curtail yourself. Number 8, there's a high price to pay for power. Just remember, with power comes a price. You have to ask yourself that you're prepared to pay that price. It's lonely at the top. And lastly, connections and being championed matters more than even performance. So your relationship with your boss matters more. In 1980, economists James Madoff and Catherine Abraham observed that salaries in companies were more strongly related to age and organizational tenure than they were to job performance. So I hope that helps. That's my segment on how to become more powerful. Until next time.